So, as I'm reading this book, Bitten, by Chris Newby, as I've been reading it, I've been completely pissed off, let me tell you. It's pissed me off a lot. And I wish I could read the entire book. I wish that everybody could hear this. I wish I could, basically shout from the buildings or with a PA system and just be like, look, this is what's going on. This is what's happening to me. This is what's happening to my family. But it's not that simple. So every so often, I'm just gonna say, here, yes, I look like crap. It's my day off. I had a busy, long weekend. I pushed through it and did everything I needed to do. My son's getting married and there's a lot to do. So today was my only day to sleep in. And so anyways, I want to read this book, but I just feel inclined to stop every so often and just read some of the things. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have copyright infringement or whatever reading it, but I mean, this is stuff that this author, Chris Newby, has done her friggin' research on. She's amazing. I mean, go and get her book if you think you have this crap. Anyways, here, I'm just going to read. This is after her explaining in her, let's see, chapter 9, Out of the Abyss. Now, she lives in Palo Alto, California. Her and her husband had gone to Martha's Vineyard on vacation. And, they're both very accomplished people in their careers. And they're sitting here losing their friggin' minds after they went on their vacation, and they went to like 6 different doctors and they were all put off, all of them. Anyway, so here's what she says. The 2-tier testing system endorsed by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has a high specificity, 99%, and yields few false positives, but the tests have a uniformly miserable sensitivity. So there's specificity and sensitivity whenever there's anything in medical or research or whatever you want to call it, I guess. But it only has a sensitivity of 56%. They miss 88 out of every 200 patients with Lyme disease. So if you compare it to AIDS, she says, by comparison, AIDS tests have a sensitivity of 99.5%. So Lyme 56, AIDS 99. They miss only 1 of every 200, not 88 of every 200 AIDS cases. In simple terms, the chance of a patient with Lyme disease being diagnosed using the commercial tests approved by the Food and Drug Administration and sanctioned by the CDC is about getting heads or tails when tossing a coin. And the poor test performance assures that many patients with Lyme disease will go undiagnosed. So, I just have felt like crap for so long that I just don't even really care anymore. Like, I just feel like, okay, I guess this is how you're supposed to feel when you start getting old. I noticed all kinds of little subtle things going wrong with me, but I never really attributed it to anything other than I'm just, okay, well, I'm 30 now. Okay, I just had 4 children. Okay, now I'm going back to school to finish my degree. Okay, now I'm working and taking care of a family, and my husband is getting worse by the month and can't work anymore, which is why I'm going back to work right now. So those are things that you just live with. You put off and you just go, okay, I guess that's what life is supposed to be about. I guess this is how it feels. And then in the meantime, he's sitting here telling the doctors how freaking tired he is and how, let me tell you, after my 3rd child, I found out that I could have VA benefits because I was in the Air Force, right? So I found out, I didn't know, because I guess I didn't pay attention when I was getting out briefed. I just wanted out. So I went to mental health because I had basically like this breakdown. And and I got on antidepressants. And anyway, so in the meantime, we're moving and doing all these things going on in our lives with 3 little children, and then I'm pregnant with my 4th, and that's kind of when I think I had my meltdown. I don't know, maybe not, maybe before that. It's hard to remember, but it was just rough. And so then my husband's, he's a full-time Finnish carpenter, and he works long hours all the time. He's tired, so you just think, oh yeah, I'm just tired, I work too much, blah blah blah. And so the doctors, really, that's what they do. You tell them what you're feeling like. You have flu-like symptoms, you have this, you have that. Oh, sorry, I don't know what to tell you, all your tests are coming back fine. So this is how that disease works. And they don't, the only ever time that we thought we've always focused on his health, because he's always had so many problems, and still never really had any answers. But he was I can't remember. See, and that's one of the things, I lose my train of thought, because I look over, I'm watching my dogs sniffing something, and my attention span goes to that for that short period of time, and I completely lose my train of thought, what I was talking about. It's just so embarrassing. Yeah, so what was I gonna say? I can't pause this because I have an iPhone, and iPhones you can't pause. See, I used to have a Galaxy, and I could pause recordings and then start it again, because right now that's what I would be doing. I'd pause and try to regather my thoughts. But anyway, oh, that's what it was. Okay, sorry. Bear with me here. You're seeing me at my worst. This is why this is such a vulnerable thing for me to do, to put my story on YouTube for the public to see, but I feel it's so necessary. I'm feeling very strongly that it's necessary, because I don't know how else to reach people and how to help you all that are suffering from this. And nobody will probably ever even see this, to tell you the truth. I probably won't ever even, nobody will watch it, but at least it's a video log for me. So I could maybe, hopefully, when I get better, look back at all of this. But anyway, we were watching this show on Netflix, and I think before that, it's hard for me to remember, like I said, exact details, but we were watching Mystery Diagnosis. That was one of my favorite shows, and it's not on anymore. I think you could find it on YouTube. I don't know. But Discovery Channel used to actually have some really cool things on there. And there's a story about this unknown disease this person had, and they found out, I think, that it was Lyme disease. And I'm just like, man, those symptoms sure sound like you, Perry, my husband. And then, I don't know, a couple years later, we were watching something on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it either, but it was like this doctor who, I think she's a doctor, she writes for the New York Times or something like that, and she crowdsources information. She'll put people's diagnosis on there, and then everybody will put in their 2 cents of what they think it is. And so it turns out this little girl got really sick, and she had gone on vacation up in the Catskills in upstate New York, where I've lived, by the way. I didn't live in the Catskills. I was just stationed up there in Plattsburgh. This is up near Lake Placid. No, well, kind of like Lake Placid, but it's on Lake Champlain, if you are familiar with that area. Anyway, so, oh, that was a big fly. Anyway, so they found out at the end of this all that, and she had to go to like Italy. They had to, these people in Italy, I think it was, or Spain, something, they tested her blood, and they found out that she had, and I need to watch it again now that I've had all these things that I've learned about this disease and the different strains of what ticks give you. Anyway, sorry. A little bit jumpy. Reading about ticks makes you feel a little jumpy. Not even kidding you. Like last night I was reading a couple things, and then my my son's girlfriend came over and they were telling us how they have these little teeny tiny ticks in their bathtub, like, and their sinks and all their bathrooms, like a lot of them, and they're really small. I'm like, oh my gosh, ticks, you know. Anyway, so I had bad dreams all night. I was dreaming about ticks and big huge bugs. I hate them. Anyways, so I'm a little jumpy. I'm sorry. It's just my trees dropping leaves. So anyhow, this little girl ended up, they were going to do a freaking lobotomy or a craniotomy on her or something and remove some of her brain because she was having seizures all the time. Well, guess what? It turns out that she has freaking Lyme disease, right? So that's what happened. And I don't even know the end of it. I don't know if she got better, because here's the problem. If you find it right away, you do 2 weeks of doxycycline. That's the standard protocol for acute Lyme disease. But there's so many different strains. There's Babesia, which I just found out, like I said, the other day, the test results came back. Babesia, Bartonella, parasite, and bacteria. And then the Borellias are bacterias, the different Borellias that we have. Miyamotoi, and I don't remember the 3 I have. But I think I probably have Miyamotoi. My doctor said there's just a lot of it that hides, because it's a spirochete bacteria that's really smart, and it hides in your cells and in your tissues, and you can't even detect it. And I get it now. I'm reading this book, and it's telling you what these things are that were dropped on people and injected in bugs, and it's terrible. Anyway, yeah, so understanding the why and the how of how these diseases developed is helping me, but it's still daunting, because I think, what'd she say, it was like 5 years of treatment, which is, you know, normal when you have this chronically. And if you have a good doctor that knows how to treat it, she found a doctor like Dr. Green, she said, that was like literally down the street from her house, who had been treating people. But here's the thing, you pay out of pocket. Like she said, she spent $60,000, you know, and 5 years of her time getting better, and insurance just doesn't want to deal with it because it's so controversial. And so this is where we're at. And this is, you know, I think all I can do is tell my story in little small increments and hope to help somebody, because at this point right now, in May of 2024, as I'm documenting this, it is not accepted. It's not, there's no treatment protocol for chronic in really that I know of. There could be, but I don't know of it. The only way that I'm able to even know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel at some point for my family and me is because we have a doctor that is well versed. He's been doing this since he was in his 30s in Europe, and he is super smart, and he's in his 70s now, and you know, he's not going to live forever. I hate it to say, of course, we know this, but, you know, God bless him and his family and all of the people that he has helped and treated and gotten well. And I'm just hoping that that's what happens to us, that we can stick with the program. I mean, my husband started it. We're just beginning, me and my kids. We still don't have all the testing in. I still have to get my phlebotomist that I have basically on call. Bless his heart. You know, he drives out here to where I live, an hour from Vegas, and, you know, he's a mobile phlebotomist that will be able to, you know, draw our blood. I've already had him out here a couple times, and my friend has too, and so my kids don't live here. I have one kid living here. So it's not easy to round everyone up to get these tests done. And they're just, it's so daunting. It really is. There's so many things that lie ahead with us. And and battling through the naysayers and battling through the insurance company, if I can even get any help through the insurance company. If not, guess what? Cha-ching, credit card. That's how it goes. When you're paying to get well, you pay for it out of pocket. Anyway, all right, well, that's all I had to say. I just felt a little bit of, information about why people, if you're going in and getting tested and you swear you think you have this, like we did when we watched, those shows, we thought that's what you have, Lyme disease. And so he kept telling, the different doctors that he would have to talk to every time they changed primary care doctors or got rid of them. We'd have to find a new one, and we'd have to go through the same old crap every single time of explaining. And this is why he's on these medications, and we don't know what's wrong, and blah, 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 blah. And finally getting a doctor that was like actually really trying to figure it out. And we asked him to test him for Lyme disease. Well, yeah, you can do that, but if you don't have the strain that is typically tested for here in America, Borrelia burgdorferi, Willie Burgdorfer, who discovered it, I don't know. Anyway, if you don't have that strain, then they think, oh, you don't have it. And if your ELISA tests and your Western blots come back, they still don't believe you have it, even if it comes back positive, because those are the only things. Now, if you want to find out, you have to get a doctor that's willing to have you tested and send it to a lab like IGeneX or any like Red Laboratories in Belgium, where I have our blood done. And it's not easy. The entire process is a pain in the neck, and it's like trying to get that handled is up to you, me. It is. It's like you have to do all the legwork and the running around. You have to email the doctor to make sure he sends over the right information. You have to have labs drawn each week when you end up getting the tests back. You have to have, and the treatment started. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm just going to keep praying that I can keep going and making this happen so that my kids don't end up like my husband, in bed all day sleeping because he has zero energy, because his body's exhausted from the adrenaline dumps he gets all day. It's like his body's in full adrenaline mode and he's exhausted. Think about how you feel after an adrenaline rush. You feel like that all the time. And then the only way that he's able to get up and out of bed is with, prescribed medications that are controlled, that are not easy to get, that doctors don't want to give you. And you have to have these diagnoses that are completely, really not accurate. They're just symptoms of what the root cause of your problem is. So anyway, sorry to go on so long. There's just a lot to this. There's a lot. And I hope that it gets easier. My hope is that it's easier, like it is with AIDS and cancer, the testing and the treatments. That's what I hope Lyme disease ends up being someday, is easy as that. And I'm sure that these people that were going through the clinical trials and the FDA approvals and all the CDC guidelines and all this other crap that they have to do to get these doctors taught and on board with these crazy diseases, that's what it has to happen with Lyme disease. And it's not going to happen easily. It's going to be a long process. It's going to cost a lot, and it's going to, and people are just going to continuously suffer all over the world and not even know that that's what they're suffering from, which is what happened to us. So I'm grateful that I have the diagnosis now, but it's still an uphill battle. People don't even know or believe it or have empathy for you. Not that I, want empathy. I just want people to understand that, my whole life is completely not normal. We're hermits. We have no social life. We're exhausted all the time. We don't feel good, and when you don't feel good and you're sick, you just don't want to deal with anything ever. But you have to. You still have to live your life. You can't just go on and on, you know, forever like this, though. I mean, my husband, he's had it probably since he was young. I don't know, or he was born with it. Who knows? I know my kids were born with it. I don't know when I got it. Anyway. All right, well, enough. Good luck. I hope that everyone is well and that we can learn about this all as we go, whatever. And I'll talk to you soon.